So which camera should I look?
Both, either one. Where did we talk to each other? We said we'll do it together. Stare in the middle. I guess first of all, you had like a really good, 24 miles of Boston Marathon. How do you evaluate it right now?
I'm happy about it because I swung for the fences. I went for it, and I think it was something that after Chicago was a little like Chicago was good, but I had to do a lot of the leading. I was kind of on my own. Like I got that 2:08 in, but it was like I wanted to run faster, and I think I could have had I ran with a group that was like ahead of me for most of the race. And I mean, I went into this race like, okay, like let's see what happens. Like it's Boston, anything can happen. You can just assert yourself to the front. And the goal was, Coach Eyestone was like, okay, don't go any faster than 440 on the downhills. And I definitely didn't listen to that. But the problem was it was just like so windy that it was like I don't want to be running 440 on my own on these downhills, catch these guys later, and be more exhausted from the wind. Right. So I decided to stick it in there and compete. Right after mile 15, Evans Chibet made a move. Chavez was telling me they ran 4:25 for that mile. I ran 4:33, and then it was just kind of like working with O'Hare for a bit. Caught Kipchoge with about 3 miles to go, passed him for about 200 meters, and then he flew right by me.
So you did pass him?
I did pass him.
All right.
And then about 2 miles to go, I looked down at my watch just to kind of see what pace I was running, and then I started blacking out. And it just kind of became like, oh crap, like I need to finish. Like I don't think I'm gonna finish, and it just kept going dark, and I kept like, I don't know. I kept seeing like about this much of what's in front of me, like for what my eye usually.
Like was it just like
black just started surrounding everything?
Have you ever experienced that in a race before?
Not in a race. No, this is the first time.
But you have in other instances outside of a race?
Yeah, like I don't know, like being dehydrated or something. Like.
What do you think it was?
I don't know. I think general fatigue was a big part of it. But I had to go to the medical tent after. I was hypothermic. They had after I was in there for a minute, they measured my temperature to 94 degrees. I don't know how hypothermic that is, but I was pretty cold. And then they thought it was low blood sugar. So I don't know. I think it's just I went out too hard. Like, but I'm happy I did it. Like. But yeah, the last 2 miles just tried to run about 6 flat pace to finish.
Did you kind of feel like as you're on the line, as right before you start, did you feel pretty good, ready to run?
Oh yeah, my training's been phenomenal. So I like it's I think had I even paced it and like it'd been a better day, I could have ran 2:07. But it's like I don't want to run 2:07. I want to run where I want to compete, and probably the best way. I don't know what the best way to have ran 2:07 right now is. Maybe I'll go back and look at it and then analyze it and then throw it out the window because every race is different, no matter if it's the same course or not. But yeah.
I mean, you still got to be a little proud from 2:08 and then here with the weather and the completely different course, right? 2:10 is still really good.
Except I went 62, like 17, and then 68. So, but I'm happy with it because it was like. I went for it.
Can you talk a little bit about those experiences? So, obviously Chicago was a little bit of a very different experience. You were kind of time trialing it, very much so shooting for your time. So, both this race, you very much so were in the thick of it. A couple splits, you popped off as the first competitor. You were right up there, always constantly competing. How would you compare sort of those two experiences if you put them side by side? They're both marathons, but they're obviously very different.
When you go up and you're competing against people, it's a lot more fun. I think Chicago was just a little tough in that situation where it's like, okay, like, let's go for it, let's see what I can run. But it was, I don't know, it's a lot more fun when you're competing against people. And even though I fell apart at the end, it was like, I really enjoyed the first 18 miles, I'll say that. And then I enjoyed passing Kipchoge for about 200 meters. And kind of...
You say anything when you pass him? Like, very few people in the world have actually passed Kipchoge in a marathon. What do you do at that
I,
moment?
I just kind of waved him on, like, stay with me.
Oh, you should have done that. He takes that positive.
That's true. He probably took that positive. He's like, oh, I'm gonna beat this guy. Oh, he wants me to pass him. I'll pass him. No, I did. There was one part I got to the lead. I kept getting to the lead because they would run, like, everybody sat on Kipchoge. Kipchoge's hasn't ran this course before, and they'd run like long tangents. So I take the short tangent and then I get in the lead. It happened right before the 5K mark, and I was like, well, I might as well just go for my bottle. Like, might as well put myself to the front. That way I don't have to deal with any traffic for the bottles. Mine was at like the end of the tables. It's just kind of hard when you're trying to weave in and out. So that's one of the reasons I was more upfront on the splits, because that's when they had the splits right before the bottles.
What's it like leading the Boston Marathon?
It's fun.
What are you thinking at that point?
Relax. Simply put, just relax and keep your face relaxed because you have so many more miles.
And what are people yelling at you, the fans?
A lot of Go Mantz, a lot of USA. It's pretty special. Wellesley, is it Wellesley? Wesley?
Wesley?
Yeah, it got so loud. Like,
Oh, Wellesley, yeah.
Yeah, it got, that was actually kind of tough because like I was just throwing me off. It's like a wall of noise. I know, like one of the canyons went like this. It's just like, it's like I don't want to hear this.
Does that give you a little bit of adrenaline though, even though it's kind of going through a tough race, but does that give you a little adrenaline?
Oh, absolutely, especially in the early miles. But the later on, you're just like, you don't even care. But in the early miles of a marathon, you're calm enough that it does.
So what do you think now between now and the Olympic trials?
Gonna do a track season, have some fun with that. Don't know any races really other than USA's that are on my schedule, but I think, I just kind of prep for an Olympic trials race where it's gonna be slower. I'm gonna go out slower than I am today, and just kind of get into some really good rhythm running. I'll probably run similar to how I ran in Chicago, just to make sure I don't. I don't know. I feel like if I run 208 flat, that'll pretty much secure me a spot on the team. And if it doesn't, then we have 3 amazing Americans that'll go. So
that's true. Yeah. So, well, Scott and Matt beat you as first American today.
Right.
Do they say anything when they go by you? Like, what happens there?
No, I cheered Scott on. I was like, yeah, it is Scott, because I was like conscious, but like because I kept going in and out like with my vision. It was like, I'm not gonna risk it. Like I'm not gonna pick it up, and I don't think I could have ran any faster than 5:20 or 5:10 pace for the last few miles. This guy was probably going like 5 flat or 4:50.
So no more marathons? You think you'll do a fall marathon?
I might. I'll have to ask Coach. I know when Jared did when Jared made the team, he didn't do a fall marathon that year. So I don't know. But when he didn't make the team, he did. So.
And with the shoes, you think you can bounce back quicker?
I think you can. I felt pretty good after Chicago, and I almost a little too good, and tried to bounce back. Like I think I did a workout like a week and a half after.
Week and a half?
Yeah, I
Wow.
jumped in a 4x2 mile session with Jared, and it was a great session. But I think after that, I was a little somehow until like almost December. I jumped back too quick. And
How much training do you do with Jared? How much is?
when he's healthy, almost every run. Right now he has a little hamstring issue, so this build was a lot harder to train just because I didn't have Jared and Clayton both got little injuries. So he was either with the BYU team or on my own. That's a lot more tough, especially.
Is someone like on a bike with you, or you're just out there running?
Coach is in his car, at least on the hard workouts. So
Yeah, that is hard. What do you think Jared can get back to that level?
oh, absolutely. I mean, the big things I think are his. Ever since his thyroid happened, I think that's been really hard for him to like get there. But he started on medication, and I think that'll help out. He'll occasionally have these pretty phenomenal workouts, mean, he was 11th in New York after like a really like I don't know, maybe 6 weeks of good training, if even that. Like I think Jared can. I think he's also the smartest racer in the U.S. But I think he's maybe other than Fauble. Him and Fauble are pretty similar in that, but I don't know. It's hard.
What did he tell you before Boston?
Said have some fun.
Check. You did that.
Yeah, and I think everybody told me to make sure I don't go through halfway too fast, but I didn't do that.
But I was still impressed with it. I mean, you held up pretty well. You didn't make it to the finish, but you almost did.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you don't try, and I think it'll help you for the next time.
Absolutely, and I think that's the biggest thing is like I'm young in my career. Kipchoge's 38, right? Or something like that, and like
I mean, he might be 40, but
he might be even older if he is. And so I kind of see myself, as like I want to have my golden years as a marathoner in my late 30s, and so I'm like I want to get as much experience while I'm younger as I can, so that when I'm in my late 40s or late 30s, I can be, I don't know, dropping 3 or 4 minutes from where I'm at now.
Yeah, well, great job. It was fun to watch.